Volunteers are stepping up in a way that we haven't seen before. Everyone is reaching out to help their brothers and sisters in need. The coordination on the ground has been excellent. And I just want to say our thanks go to every single person who is working through the night to help locate their missing brothers and sisters, who's trying to help clear the roads, clear the debris, and help Ohio County and Marion County recover again. It's really, truly been amazing to watch. There's still a need for volunteers in the upcoming days. We know that there have been many incident reports that ultimately will get submitted to FEMA, but there's still a need to get out to a lot of the homes to help people clean up. So we're asking for volunteers. We're asking people, if you'd like to volunteer to help, to reach out to the Ohio County Emergency Management Team at 304-234-7109. This is a critical time because while a lot of progress has been made in the last couple days in terms of cleanup, there's still much more that needs to be done. And so I'm getting that call out because if you have a little bit of extra time, we can get the word out. It could make a huge difference. These are critical days. But we do owe everyone a tremendous debt of gratitude, from the first responders and a lot of the people standing with us here today. Really grateful. We have the mayor of Wheeling. We just met with the mayors of Triadelphia and Valley Grove. We have the county commissioner and the administrator. We have Lou Vargo. We have our National Guard, our General Seward. We have our transportation folks. We literally just finished up a roundtable meeting with state and local officials to make sure that we can address every issue that comes up. If there's a problem coming up from this flood from Ohio County, we want to be proactive and we want to address this. Let me tell you, I think the community is in good hands. A lot of people have been working closely together. It's been really nice to see. We're all on the same team when we come in the room, and I think that's quite refreshing. We know that we have to work closely together to have our resources get targeted in the most effective places, and we're doing that. I also want to thank a number of the legislators who have come out. I appreciate their interest in this as well, because I know there'll be follow-up ahead on some flood-related issues in the months ahead. So thank you all for coming here today. I do have some somber news to report. We now can clearly state that 8 people are confirmed dead in Ohio County. We just were able to receive news that the 8th person, an unidentified male, was just found. When we have notified next of kin, we can provide the name, but obviously the search and rescue continues. There's still 1 person presumed missing. So this is a very challenging time for the residents of Ohio County. Just as an anecdote, we drove in early this morning and I stopped off to get a cup of coffee, and people were talking about the vibrancy of the 3-year-old who was lost. I mean, we can't take that back, but we can honor their memory by coming together and doing everything we can to help remaining people that might be out there and help rebuild in Ohio County. This has certainly been a very difficult time. In Marion County, I think a number of you saw that the apartment complex had collapsed the other day. I want to report to you that thankfully in that county, there's been no loss of life. And as of yesterday, everyone was accounted for. So that is good news. I went there on Monday. I surveyed the damage. And if you would see it in person, you would think it's a miracle that no one died from that. I mean, it was truly unbelievable to see how the building buckled and how the water came in at the bottom and the top. It's stunning, but we had a lot of brave people doing water rescues and assisting those in need, and that's how many of those lives were saved. So we're very appreciative, once again, for all the first responders and people who have stepped up. On the power and water side, connections have been restored to over 2,000 accounts. It's my understanding that we're at about 75 people here in Ohio County as of 8 o'clock this morning. Still didn't have power, but I want to thank the linemen. I want to thank the utility. I want to thank everyone who stepped up to make that happen. Getting power restored quickly is obviously a primary goal during a state of emergency, and we have so many people to thank for their hard work and for their bravery, what they do. Sometimes the kind of work that they do, it's unsung, but these linemen, they do so much. I appreciate that. We know that our Division of Highways, they've been on the ground almost immediately, clearing the debris so linemen could get through, and once again, working closely with the county, with the local officials to do everything we can to help making progress. We also have reports that we've been able to restore water service to most of Ohio County. I'm told there are some people in Valley Grove who are still without water, but we do know that there's sufficient water pallets and water is being delivered to those communities, and we think that they will get their water. People are going to continue to work to get that water service restored. On the transportation front, DOT is conducting a number of operations, starting with clearing debris to make sure that the first responders and the traveling public can get where they need to be, restoring roadways, and inspecting bridges, and we'll talk about that in a moment. We're also working with the local landfill to remove and transfer debris off roads and into the landfill. That's important that we do that, and first clear those local areas to get a lot of that debris away. I know the National Guard spent a lot of time yesterday and the day before working on that, and I'm sure General Seward will update folks on that effort. We're also going to continue to coordinate the deployment of our transportation resources from other parts across the state to assist local crews. It's my understanding right now that Department of Transportation, we have over 60 pieces of equipment here in Ohio County, and we have significant employees, 107 employees on the ground, busy doing work, and I want to thank them. These are folks that are working through the night doing incredible things, and they also earn our gratitude. There's still a number of roads that are closed here in Ohio County for cleanup. We're working hard to get those arteries open, including parts of US 40, County 25 Peters Run, County Warden's Run, County 31 Battle Run, County 1 Short Creek, County 7 GC&P 7, County 39 Middle Creek, County 29 Dixon's Run, County 35 McGraw's Run, County 27 Point Run, County 45 Atkinson Crossing, and County 8/1 Stewart's Road. We also know that there are a number of bridges that are still closed in Ohio County, so once again, take precautions, be wary of that. Let folks do their job so we can get all these streets cleaned up and repaired, and so we can get normal traffic return. But these bridges closed include Schilling Bridge in Elm Grove, County 31 Battle Run Road Bridge, and 8/1 Stewart's Road Bridge. In Marion County, we still have one road closed. That's County Road 15/7, Sycamore Hollow Road. I also want to report to folks that I've had some discussions with the White House and with FEMA, and we're working hard. We're going to proceed diligently the same way the state always has. We're going to go through the process. We're working locally with people to make sure that those survey instruments are filled out and that they're returned. That's the key to success in situations like this. We have to have people that are affected on the ground return that survey instrument in order to ensure that we're counting the numbers properly. The way that the FEMA system works is that they look at the statewide figures, they look at the county figures, and so we have to make sure that we're reflecting accurate numbers, and we know that there's been a lot of impact right here in Ohio County. So I'm urging everyone, and I'm going to give the website in a little bit, I'm urging everyone who's been affected to go online and submit. that disaster survey instrument so we can get accurate information. That's critically important. So please do that. If there's one takeaway today for the media and for others, we need people to go fill that out. That's certainly very, very important. I am hopeful that all of these efforts are going to prove fruitful, but we're going to keep fighting for West Virginia. We know that people are hurting right now. Our brothers and sisters need us to stand strong, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to work together as a team, and I know that there's been expressions of sympathy and support from all across the country to what's going on. I know I was pleased. There are a couple folks that know the difficulties that Ohio County is going through, and that means a lot. I know certainly West Virginians reach out and help other states when they're in need. Well, a lot of other states and their governors reaching out as well to express their support. So I want to thank everyone for doing that. Moving on the DEP side, DEP is conducting inspections on facilities in both Marion and Ohio counties, and we have not received word of any issues. We know that the DEP has authorized landfills to stay open for extended hours, and we stand ready to authorize any additional debris staging areas. We were talking about some of those issues during our roundtable, which was very, very helpful. DEP has also waived tonnage limitation and disposal fees. We know that within Ohio County, there have been a lot of actions with debris staging, site assessment, and setup. And as of yesterday afternoon, 2 flood debris drop-off locations have been approved. People should know that there's a public site located near the Hobby Lobby between the Cabela's and up in the Highlands. The site is now open for public use and staffed by DEP personnel. There's also a site open for the National Guard to dump flood debris, and that's for National Guard use only. But we're hopeful that these staging areas are going to make a real difference. In Marion County, the DEP did respond to a report of a leaking 55-gallon drum of suspected used oil in Fairmont. The drum was stabilized to stop the leak, and that's going to be sent for proper disposal today. I know that DEP staff is working, coordinating on the ground in Marion and in Ohio counties, and will be very involved in the flood management efforts going forward. We know that DEP personnel is able to conduct on-site meetings and inspections as needed. So if there is a need for that, coordinate with your local folks in our team so we can get the assistance that we need to you. Moving on to DNR. Let me say, our DNR guys are phenomenal. They've been involved in over 40 of the successful water rescues so far, and working closely with local officials. This has been great partnership, because we have some of those swift boats that can really make a difference. I saw some of the footage from Marion County, and to see what they were able to do with these people that are climbing out the windows, and in some situations hanging on to air conditioners, it was truly unbelievable. But there were a lot of brave people, including our first responders, folks DNR, and local folks on the ground who stepped up. We need to salute those people. They are brave. They are strong. They're the epitome of the West Virginia indomitable spirit, and they have done incredible work to help people who truly need it. We know that DNR and others have successfully removed about 14 vehicles from the river with our combination. I want to emphasize something here. We're all standing together. There's local officials, there's state officials. Think of us all the same. We want to speak with one voice today, because what matters is getting the job done and being strong. When you look at the group, you're going to see a group of people that are just focused on helping communities in need. We can't have any bickering. That's not what this could ever be about. And I want to thank the local cooperation we've received here in Ohio County. You guys have done a great job. This is now, I think, my third disaster that's in 5.5 months since coming in. So we're getting a little used to this, unfortunately. But I can tell you that you guys have been very coordinated on the ground. That means a lot. That makes the state's job a little bit easier. We know that the state police are out. They're working. They're still searching affected homes and vehicles. They're going house by house. and vehicle by vehicle, looking for survivors and checking on folks. You know, it's too difficult to project what else may happen. We know we have 8 confirmed deaths. We have at least 1 unaccounted for, but we don't know whether there will be others. We're going to continue to look. That's the top priority right now. Identify people, obviously help with the evacuation, engage in supply distribution, and assist the residents of Ohio and Marion counties. Very importantly, we mobilized the Guard, and they've been very, very busy. General Seward and his team have been very active over the last few days. They're working directly with the local emergency management folks. They have over 50 pieces of equipment separately up here and over 130 personnel that are on the ground, busy doing work. These Guard, I tell you what, once again, West Virginia has probably the best Guard in the country. Some amazing people. I thank all of you. You know, General Seward's up here, but I know there are a lot of people behind the scenes that are doing some pretty incredible work. And let me just thank the Guard for everything they do. We couldn't do any of this without you. And we're going to stay and make sure we're going to keep getting big things done. A couple other logistics issues. In Ohio County, from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., if you're impacted by flooding, you can pick up various supplies, water, cleaning supplies, non-perishable food, items to help you clean. We want to make sure that we're getting a lot of those homes cleaned quickly. That's why I call out for the volunteers. I ask people in West Virginia and across the country, if people want to come in and help, we need to get those homes cleared and mucked up. If people need assistance getting supplies delivered, please call 304-234-7109. If there are large bulk items, they should be dropped off at the West Banco Arena from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. There are a couple supply pickup locations. One's at 25 Armory Drive in Wheeling, and then also at Gantry 45 Caliber Drive in the Highlands. So that's some additional details for folks. Department of Health also engaged with tetanus shots and helping out. Wheeling, Ohio County Health Department, Marshall, Wetzel, Tyler. So we've been very active on that front. I want to take a moment and mention the disaster survey site. That's emd.wv.gov/disaster survey. Let me repeat that again. emd.wv.gov/disaster survey. If you're affected by the flood, please submit it. There are over 690 submissions that were made into the system already. We want to make sure that if you have something, get that into us. The quicker that goes in, the quicker that gets reviewed locally and statewide, the quicker we can work together to put the proper submission in. That makes all the difference in the world. Ohio County has been facing some real challenges over the last few days. But one thing that's true about West Virginians, we're never, ever going to give up. We do have a spirit that doesn't allow us to quit. And we have people that are working. They're showing off how much they're putting their friends and neighbors above themselves. Wow. The first responders stepping up, the local sheriffs, the local first responders, and everyone in emergency management, the work they're doing, it's just West Virginia at its finest. This shows how we get to persevere over all the challenges that we have. And while we've been knocked down a few times, we're going to keep getting up again and again and again. We're going to come back from this stronger than ever, and we're going to work together to help Ohio County rise and be strong, help Marion County rise and be strong, help all of West Virginia be very, very strong. I'm very happy to be here today. I know you're going to continue to see our team, and you'll see me up here in the weeks and months ahead. And I want to thank everyone for coming. And now I'm going to turn it over to our team. We'll start with General Seward with some update on National Guard activities.
Thank you, Governor. Good morning. As the governor said, we're on the ground and we're working diligently. I would just ask folks in the community, if you don't have a specific reason to be on Route 40, to please stay off of Route 40. Got a lot of young men and women out there. You'll see them in uniform, some of them in vests because they were trying to do traffic control yesterday. They have large equipment. Most of them wearing helmets. Their visibility might be difficult, and the amount of traffic that was on Route 40 yesterday when I was out there made it very difficult for them to do their job. They're trying to focus on small sectors at a time to try to alleviate the traffic congestion where they're working, but if you could stay off of that road, it would be incredibly helpful. There's also power restoration going on in that road, and Department of Highway is using that, as well as many contractors. So for the safety of those young men and women in uniform, I'd ask you to watch the news and look on YouTube or anywhere else that you can see what you need to see. But if you don't have a reason to be there, please stay off. As the governor said, we're using temporary dump site in the Highlands right now, so that's our traffic pattern, and because we have 50 pieces of equipment out there operating, you'll see that it's extremely busy. I just wanted to take one last second to thank the citizens and the volunteers. While I was on the street there yesterday on Route 40, I can't tell you how many citizens I spoke to that live along that route that were praising everybody from law enforcement and the first responders to the National Guard, highways, and the local officials. It's exactly what the governor is talking about. It takes a coordinated effort, and Ohio County is really leading from what I've seen around the country. It's really an outstanding effort, providing food and water to the troops as well as the other folks working in the area. So thank you, and as the governor said, we'll continue to be back, and the National Guard's not going anywhere. I just have to pop in and out so that I can take care of other duties. Thank you.
Sorry. Mayor, would you like to say a few words?
I would. On behalf of the City of Wheeling and Ohio County, we do want to express our gratitude to the governor and his team for their very quick response. You know, they've provided additional energy to the first responders who have really been running day and night, and they provided hope to the victims. And so our deepest gratitude, Governor, to you and your team.
Appreciate it. And there's a gentleman who's really been at the center of this, doing so much of the great work and coordination. I'd like to turn it over to Lou Vargo. He's really done an outstanding job. Lou?
Thank you, Governor. I just want to make a couple quick comments. As the governor reported, we did retrieve our 8th victim. And I want to explain to you, this is a male. We've talked about before, we were looking for a female. From the first reports we were getting, emergency management, the police department, sheriff's department, state police, we are compiling a list of what I call credible victims. These were victims that were calls we received. I saw this person go in the water. I saw this car in the water. So we knew these were people who were in the water. It's just not, I can't get a hold of a person. So we accumulated that list. We were working with 8 people. As the governor mentioned yesterday, we had 7 victims. We're searching for 1. We retrieved a person this morning, and we all knew that even though we had 8, there might be people that were never witnessed were in the water. And I believe that's what law enforcement we're dealing with now is we have an additional victim. So we're going to continue our search for still a missing person. So that's the difference between our numbers and everything. The second thing, he did a wonderful job explaining the importance of that survey. Again, I'm going to say it again, it's under the Emergency Management Division, emd.wva.gov/disaster survey. And the obvious question is going to be is, well, Lou, I don't have power. How can I get that survey in there? Well, first of all, the resident really doesn't have to do it. If a family member has it, they've been helping, they could go back to their home, it's not affected, they can do that. If they have cell phone coverage, they could call 211. The people answering 211s, they could fill out that survey for you. And we also have people come today that are going to go out on ATVs, some of these areas, these feeder streets that, we know Route 40 and Valley Grove and Triadelphia is heavily hit, but there's these other runs that are coming down that they've been affected, and we're going to go out there to each one of the houses, and we're going to get those surveys done. And finally, being in my position, I kind of, I learn from any time there's a disaster, whether it's here in Ohio County or something I saw in other places, that I was always hoping I didn't ever have to use this. But on Facebook this morning, I saw a logo that said Ohio County Strong. And it's out there now. But as the governor said, yes, it's the city of Wheeling, it's Ohio County, it's now Marion County, we're affected. But it's a great team. It's a great team from the local, the city, the two Valley Grove, and Triadelphia. I got great support from the county commission, and our first responders have been coming together. We are strong. But if you could see the supplies that we've received, the food we received, we have warehouses that are full of things that we're getting out to these people. It's been overwhelming. Businesses, Walmart, they're bringing tractor trailers full of supplies.
Right.
Just everybody coming together. Yes, Ohio County is strong, West Virginia is strong, but it is one team. And I just really appreciate the efforts. Solemnly, we keep the thoughts and prayers of all the victims, but as the governor said, on the good side, the West Virginias is just, I think we're an example to the
Absolutely.
nation
Indeed.
of how we're responding. So thank you.
Thank you, Lou. Appreciate it. Thank you, Lou, and he really has been working around the clock and his whole team. This has been an incredible response. I'd like to also let our county commish have a chance. Please, come on up, my friend.
Thank you, Governor.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'd like to echo a lot of those same thoughts, that the governor has truly been amazing. The Department of Highways, DEP, DNR, all of our local officials, all the way down to the council people, to the mayors, to the elected officials in the county, and Lou and his team, EMA, 911, first responders, City of Wheeling. Everybody has truly, truly made it a wonderful effort here. And I'll just have to say that, the spirit by which Ohio County and the citizens here have done is just unbelievable. The spirit has just been great. Governor, I know you've been on the ground, and I appreciate that. General Sword has been fantastic with National Guard. And the Department of Highways, I can't tell you. I mean, I live on one of those runs, and we're down to one lane in 3 different sections of just one run. Banks have been wiped out. It has just been truly amazing about how responsive people have been. And so from the county commission perspective, we're going to continue, as the governor had indicated and Lou had indicated, we're going to need people. The volunteerism has been fantastic. I have seen more people out there, and I don't understand why it takes a natural disaster for us to come together like this. I wish we could do that when times are good, because we could do amazing things. But again, I just want to thank you for your team, and we just hope everybody continues to continue to respond as well as they have.
Great. Thank you.
Governor.
Thank you, Commish.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Commish. And at this time, I want to conclude the remarks, but open it up for questions. I want to mention one quick thing, though. The Commish mentioned being on the ground. There was no substitute for being on the ground the other day in Triadelphia to look at all of the people in the community who were so deeply and catastrophically affected. To talk to people there and to see the carnage firsthand, that community was hit really, really badly. And so not only are our thoughts and prayers with them, but we're working hard to help that area and all the areas affected by the flood rebuild. And people are really hurting right now. But we can be strong for them. We need to be strong for them. And West Virginia, we're going to come together. We're going to rally behind people in need. And that's my biggest message I want to convey today. So thank you all for coming. Happy to take any questions that you may have. Jocelyn?
Yes, do we know how long it's going to take before we get this FEMA declaration?
No timeline right now. Right now we're in the collection mode in terms of the surveys. And so as we do that, then we will be submitting to FEMA. This is the kind of situation where the water came in. It came fast and furious. I think the other day I said this was a unicorn event. It's something they're saying is really hard to imagine happening with the 4 inches of rain in a 40-minute period. And there are parts, when I was in Triadelphia the other day, people were walking me through the parts that do normally get affected by the rain and by the flooding, and then a lot of areas that never are affected by the rain and the flooding. and everywhere was affected by the flooding, and that presented a difficult situation. So we're going to work closely. That's why we're getting the word out on the survey instrument, and we're working closely. I know that we're going to move very, very fast to get that application in. I talked to people yesterday within the administration. I told them that we're working on it. It will be coming in. And so we've also been coordinating and talking with our federal delegation, and they know that this is happening as well. So we expect to have a united front of trying to help our citizens out.
You seem to have a good relationship with President Trump. Have you been able to get through to him, or do you think you'll be able to speak with him on this?
I'm sure I will. I haven't talked to him directly yet since this has happened, but I've talked to a number of senior people. And last week I had a chance to catch up with Homeland Secretary Kristi Noem. She's had some of the health issues more recently, but we've been talking with a lot of the senior people in the administration. So, look, I know President Trump cares deeply about West Virginia. He really does. And so I'm going to make my best argument to him as to why Ohio County and West Virginia and Marion County, all of these areas deserve the help to get our citizens back on the right track.
Governor, if you don't mind.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay.
Hang on, we're just going to let Louie wanted to add something.
I just want to explain one thing when we talk about the presidential declaration. There's two types. One is public assistance. That's for all the expenses incurred by the city, the county, and the state with overtime, diesel fuel, things like that, anything, and especially the infrastructure, especially with highways. There's probably millions of dollars of damage and things. That's under the public assistance side, so that's one aspect. The other aspect is individual assistance, and that's what the governor, why we're stressing the surveys. That's what's going to get an individual assistance declaration so we could get help to the citizens themselves. We pray that we could get the president to declare both sides. We could get a public assistance and individual, but there's been times throughout Ohio County or the United States where the previous presidents may say, well, the numbers aren't there for individuals, but there may be for the public, and vice versa. So hopefully we could get both, but don't be surprised if, depending on these numbers, it might be one or other, and hopefully both. So, but there's two types I just want you to be aware of, because a lot of people are going to ask you, oh, you got a public assistance, where can I get my money? Well, if the individuals, we don't have those numbers that the governor's been explaining, then individual assistance is not part of the declaration.
No, it's a good point that Lou raises, and there are also some other programs when we're able to get the data in. There's a hazard mitigation program as well. So when we collect a lot of this information, it can make a difference, because thinking about prevention and resilience is also very, very critical. And I know down south after the floodings, there's a lot of work going on some of the hazard mitigation side, because, you know, if you can engage in prevention, you want to. Now, Mother Nature is not predictable. We know that. And so we have to acknowledge that. But certainly we want to get as much data in from every source as we can. Next question.
Yeah, Governor, going off that too, you mentioned the McDowell County flooding, and West Virginia has seen flooding for so many years, and this is just a devastating thing that Ohio County has never seen before. Truly, what is being done at the state and federal levels to make sure that this never happens again?
Well, I think the first thing we have to acknowledge is that Mother Nature is very unpredictable. I want to mention that when you can engage in prevention, you certainly want to do that. But from what we're hearing on the weather situation, that level of rain that dropped in a 40-minute period and how quickly the water rose, it's hard to prevent and guard against that. There are things that you're not ever going to be able to guard against. What you want to do is engage in smart prevention. You want to be able to work collaboratively to develop these projects, to be thoughtful, and to have a priority system for resilience. So that's certainly critically important. But we also have to acknowledge that sometimes nature comes in and it does a lot of damage. And that's why a lot of the people here, their functions are so important. Having an emergency management system locally and having the communications loops between the city, the county, the state, the emergency management, the guard, our office, the mayor, the commish, all of the various agencies, that's important, so that when you get the unicorn rain that's 4 inches in 40 minutes, that literally no one can deal with immediately because the water comes up almost immediately, you at least have good systems on the ground to deal with it. But where there's an opportunity to prevent, you want to prevent. And then sometimes Mother Nature comes in and lays a very heavy and devastating hand.
And do you have any recommendations for what residents should be doing to help prevent something like this?
Well, there are a couple things that residents should be doing right now. First, we know that there's so many people that are affected in Ohio County, Marion County. People, obviously, the more we can help our neighbors and friends in need, that makes all the difference in the world. There's still efforts ongoing, search and rescue, to be able to identify any final individuals who may be unaccounted for. I think at this stage we have one. But beyond that, we're really heavily focused on the cleanup side in terms of the debris and the cleanup of the homes. So, to the extent that people can help their friends and their neighbors, that makes a huge, huge difference. But I also want to reaffirm General Seward's comments. Be careful. We don't need folks out on the road when we're trying to clean them up. Like Route 40, we want to make sure that people are focused on ways that can help their neighbors without impeding some of the efforts. But number one, fill out those surveys. Number two, if you want to volunteer or you know of other resources that you could provide, you can actually call up 304-234-7109 and weigh in and try to provide assistance. We need everyone's help, and then that's how we get back together quickly.
Governor, what is the status of the West Virginia Flood Resiliency Trust Fund? Is there money in that that can be used right now to help people?
So we're obviously working, we have a civil contingency fund within the state. So when the flood process begins, we authorize and we say, let's go run toward the fire. That's what you have to do. We have to help families and communities in need. So there's no pause on that. That's what we did. So that's part of the reason why you have a civil contingency fund. There are also several other sources. I just authorized last week some studies, and we're going to be announcing some of them in terms of resilience and prevention. So there are resources that are ongoing. There's money that's set aside for certain types of projects. So I'm going to be looking to have additional conversations with the legislature, but there are resources that have been deployed already in terms of our civil contingency, in terms of money specifically on flood prevention. So, and to the extent that there's needed to be more, I'm very open to that discussion when the legislature ultimately comes back. But we are very engaged in that, and there's no delay because we're utilizing the contingency fund. Any other media questions?
Governor, I have one more question, if you don't mind. I just wanted to touch base about the roads. What roads and how many roads are completely destroyed?
Highways?
As of right now, we have a couple roads that we've got some significant damage on. We have about 15 right now that we've got repairs that we will have to do on. Our highest priority route will be repaired first, but we will go into each one of those locations, mitigating any repairs that's needed done for the future, and make those repairs just as soon as we can.
Thank you.
We have people all over the state assisting with highways.
Great. Any other questions from the media? I want to say, Jocelyn?
I just wanted to clarify,
Yeah.
we have identified 8 people dead now, is that?
So the toll from the flood is now 8. The 8th person has not been identified yet. It's an unidentified male. And then when the next of kin is notified, we'll release the name.
Still 1.
And we believe there's one that's unaccounted for. I think as Lou was mentioning, this was based upon the list that they put together of where people saw folks that were in the water. That doesn't mean that there can't be other individuals, but as we learn more information, we'll share that with you. Let me say thank you all for everything you're doing. We're going to keep coming back, and we're going to ensure that we put Ohio County, Marion County, all the citizens of West Virginia first, and we're going to get through this stronger than ever. So thank you, and God bless. All right. Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it.
That was West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey confirming there is now an 8th victim from the flash floods in Ohio County over the weekend.